On March 15, 2019, at 2:47 p.m., a woman everyone called Garbage Mary walked into the Beverly Hills branch of Sotheby's holding a water-stained canvas she'd bought for $3 at a garage sale in Riverside, California. Security guard James Patterson reached for his radio, ready to escort out what appeared to be a homeless woman clutching worthless junk. The authentication scanner would reveal the painting as Pablo Picasso's Woman in Blue, missing since a Nazi raid in 1938, valued at $52 million. Mary Elizabeth Thornton, a former MIT mathematics professor who'd lost everything in the 2008 financial crisis and lived in her 1993 Honda Civic, had spent 7 years studying the painting's strange symbols while others saw only garbage. She'd endured 2,555 nights sleeping in parking lots, survived on food bank donations, and been arrested 13 times for vagrancy. Yet this woman, whom store managers routinely banned and police regularly moved along, possessed the most significant lost artwork discovered this century. This is the forgotten story of how society's invisible became the art world's most important detective. At age 9, Mary Thornton discovered mathematics could reveal hidden patterns in chaos. Her father, an alcoholic janitor at Boston Museum of Fine Arts, would bring her along during weekend shifts. "Everything has a code, little genius," he'd say, letting her wander galleries while he drank from a flask. "Even beautiful things hide ugly truths." While other children saw pretty pictures, Mary calculated golden ratios, memorized brushstroke angles, studied the mathematical precision behind apparent randomness. She'd spend hours with a notebook, converting paintings into numbers, finding Fibonacci sequences in compositions. Her third-grade teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, noted, "Mary sees mathematics where others see art, patterns where others see chaos." By age 14, when her father died from liver failure, she'd memorized the mathematical signatures of 300 masterworks. This childhood spent translating beauty into equations would become everything, though first it would cost her everything. The garage sale in Riverside attracted no attention from serious collectors. The elderly woman running it, Agnes Mueller, was clearing her deceased husband's hoarding mess. Mary, living in her car behind a Walmart, came looking for blankets. $3 for anything on that tarp, Agnes muttered, pointing to water-damaged items. "Rest is negotiable." Mary noticed the canvas immediately, not for its subject, but for its mathematical structure. The composition followed a complex algorithmic pattern she'd seen only once before, in a book about lost Picassos her father had shown her 23 years ago. "This painting," Mary said, her voice rough from disuse. "Where did your husband get it?" "That trash? Found it in a storage unit he bought at auction. Been in our garage 40 years. Kids used it as a dartboard once." Mary counted 17 small holes in the canvas, each potentially catastrophic to value, yet the mathematical signature remained intact. She paid with 3 crumpled dollar bills, her food money for the day. For the next 2 weeks, she lived in the Riverside Public Library parking lot, using their bathroom to clean the painting with techniques she'd learned watching her father restore frames. Each cleaning revealed more. A hidden signature, a date, 1938, numbers that weren't random but coordinates. She approached 7 art dealers. Each reaction was identical: disgust, dismissal, threats to call security. The 8th dealer, Jonathan Hartwell of Hartwell Fine Arts, actually had her arrested for harassment. The police report noted, "Transient woman claiming to possess Picasso, obviously mentally ill." Mary's first attempt at authentication nearly destroyed everything. She'd saved $400 collecting cans for 6 months, enough for a basic spectrographic analysis at a strip mall forensics lab that mainly did paternity tests. "Lady, this is house paint," the technician laughed after running the test. "1950s hardware store variety. Someone scammed you good." But Mary noticed something the technician missed. The surface paint was house paint, applied over something else. Someone had deliberately hidden the original beneath cheap latex, probably during World War II. She spent another 8 months saving for chemical analysis, sleeping in her car through a brutal summer where temperatures hit 118 degrees. The second test revealed traces of lead white and Prussian blue, pigments consistent with 1930s European oil paint beneath the house paint. So what? The technician shrugged. Lots of old paintings have lead paint. Doesn't make it Picasso. Mary was banned from 3 more galleries, arrested twice more for aggressive solicitation, and spent a week in county jail where inmates called her Picasso Lady. This failure, having proof but no credibility, became an ominous portent. Truth without status was worthless. Mary developed a 3-pronged approach to proving authenticity without institutional support. First, she mapped every mathematical relationship in the painting, creating a 47-page document showing how each element followed Picasso's documented algorithmic preferences from his blue period. Using library computers during 1-hour sessions, she compiled data from auction catalogues, comparing mathematical ratios. Second, she traced the painting's provenance through the numbers hidden in its composition. The coordinates led to a Paris apartment building. Archive searches revealed the building was raided by Nazis in November 1938. The resident, Jewish art collector Samuel Rothstein, was sent to Drancy internment camp. His collection was never recovered. Third, she identified microscopic details invisible to casual observation. Using a magnifying glass stolen from a dollar store, she found fingerprints in the paint's texture. Picasso had a documented habit of pressing his thumb into wet paint on the lower right corner, a signature more unique than his name. "You're that crazy woman with the fake Picasso," librarian Jennifer Chen said one day. But she noticed Mary's notebooks, filled with mathematical proofs. "You were a professor?" "MIT. Topology. Until 2008. Mary's voice cracked from shame. Jennifer, whose immigrant parents had been dismissed as ignorant despite being doctors in China, recognized the prejudice of disbelief. "The library has a high-resolution scanner, after hours, unofficially. Those scans revealed what human eyes couldn't. Beneath the house paint, beneath the grime, was a painting matching every known characteristic of Picasso's lost Woman in Blue." Thomas Whitfield, senior manager at Sotheby's Beverly Hills, had been having a terrible morning when Mary walked in. 2 authentication scandals, a divorce, and hemorrhoids made him particularly unsuited for dealing with what appeared to be a homeless woman. "Ma'am, we don't accept walk-ins," he said without looking up. "Especially not," he glanced at her torn jacket, unwashed hair, the garbage bag protecting the painting. "In your condition." "I have a Picasso," Mary said quietly. "Security to main gallery," Whitfield spoke into his radio. "We have a situation. Please, just scan it. Your new Christie's AI authentication system. 1 scan. That system costs $50,000 per use. We don't waste it on garage sale fantasies from," he paused, choosing his words, "disturbed individuals." But Alexandra Pierce, a junior authenticator ambitious for promotion, noticed something. The woman held the painting with museum-quality handling techniques, supporting the canvas correctly despite her shaking hands. "Tom," Alexandra whispered, "let me look. 30 seconds." She approached Mary, studied the visible portion through the garbage bag. Her expression changed. "Tom, we need to scan this." "Absolutely not. This woman is obviously—" "Tom." Alexandra's voice carried an edge. "Scan it, now." The authenticated AI system, a $40 million investment using quantum computing to analyze every known artistic signature, required 17 minutes for full analysis. The gallery fell silent as the machine worked, its screens displaying incomprehensible data streams. Mary stood perfectly still, knowing that any wrong movement might provoke security. Whitfield paced, muttering about wasted time and corporate oversight. Alexandra watched the screens, her face increasingly pale. At minute 15, she gasped. "Tom, look." The screen displayed Authenticated probability 99.7%. Pablo Picasso, Femme en Bleu, 1938. Rothstein collection. Listed stolen destroyed. Estimated value $52 to $58 million. Whitfield's legs gave out. He sat heavily in a chair worth more than most cars. "This is impossible. You're homeless. You smell like... How did you..." Where? Riverside garage sale, $3. Mary's voice remained steady, though her hands shook. The seller's husband bought a storage unit in 1979. The unit belonged to an immigrant family named Kaufman. The Kaufmans helped the Rothstein family escape France in 1942. They smuggled out 3 paintings, hidden under house paint. This is one. We need to. Protocols require, Whitfield stammered. Police, FBI, art loss registry. This is stolen Nazi loot. You can't just. I've already contacted the Holocaust Art Restitution Project, Mary said, pulling out a carefully preserved email printout. The Rothstein heirs are in Tel Aviv. They've agreed to authentication verification and a finder's fee of 15%. Alexandra ran additional tests. Paint age, consistent with 1938. Canvas weave, matching Picasso's documented supplier. Signature flourishes, perfect match to known examples. How did you know? Alexandra asked. What made you certain? Mathematics doesn't lie, Mary replied. Every artist has an algorithmic signature. Picasso used golden ratios in specific patterns. This painting has 17 distinct mathematical markers that appear in his confirmed works. The probability of coincidence is less than 1 in 7 billion. Within 72 hours, Mary Thornton transformed from Garbage Mary to the most sought-after authentication consultant in the art world. The Picasso discovery triggered a cascade of revelations. Her notebooks, those water-stained compilations security guards had mocked, contained mathematical analyses of 300 other works. She identified 7 forgeries in our permanent collection, admitted Charles Brennan, director of the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Works we'd displayed for decades. Her mathematical method is revolutionary. Mary established her authentication protocol, converting visual art into mathematical equations, creating algorithmic fingerprints more precise than any subjective expert opinion. She identified 12 more lost masterworks in unexpected places. A Monet in a taco shop, the owner's grandmother had bought it at an estate sale. A Vermeer in a storage unit. A Pollock in a thrift store donation bin. I lived invisible for 7 years, she told CNN's Anderson Cooper. Invisible people see what others ignore. We shop garage sales, thrift stores, flea markets. We see the discarded, the overlooked, the dismissed. But she refused to abandon her homeless community. She hired 43 unhoused individuals as street authenticators, teaching them basic pattern recognition. They found a Basquiat being used as a table cover, a Rothko in a dumpster, a Kandinsky in a condemned building. The world throws away treasures, Mary explained to skeptical reporters, just like it throws away people. Marcus Webb, a formerly respected art dealer, saw opportunity in Mary's success. He approached her team members with a proposition. Identify valuable works, but report them to him first for a finder's fee, bypassing Mary's ethical protocols. She pays you minimum wage, Webb told Robert Chen, one of Mary's first street authenticators. I'll pay $10,000 per find, cash, no questions. Robert, desperate to get his daughter medical treatment, agreed. He identified a genuine Rembrandt sketch at an estate sale, but told Webb instead of Mary. Webb bought it for $200, sold it privately for $8 million. When Mary discovered the betrayal, she faced a choice. Prosecute and destroy Robert, or understand and forgive. Your daughter needed surgery, she said to Robert in her cluttered office, actually a converted shipping container. I know what desperation does to ethics. I stole food for 3 years. But Webb had recorded everything, editing the conversations to suggest Mary was running the scam. He released the recordings to the media, claiming Mary's entire operation was fraudulent, that she planted artworks for her team to find. The scandal erupted. Museums that had hired her demanded refunds. Authentication requests evaporated. The FBI investigated. Her homeless team scattered, afraid of legal consequences. The FBI raid on Mary's shipping container office occurred at dawn on September 3, 2019. Agent Sarah Martinez led the Financial Crimes Unit, seizing computers, notebooks, and the mathematical proofs Mary had compiled over 7 years. Miss Thornton, you're accused of operating a sophisticated fraud ring, Martinez announced. Planting fake artworks, manipulating authentication systems, defrauding museums of millions. They found Mary's living situation, still sleeping on a cot in the corner, still eating food bank donations despite having earned $8 million in authentication fees. She'd given away 90% to homeless services and art education programs. Fraud requires deception, Mary said quietly as they handcuffed her. Mathematics doesn't deceive. Check my equations. The arrest made international news. Homeless genius or master fraud, headlines screamed. Museums distanced themselves. The Picasso authentication was questioned. The Rothstein heirs worried about their claim. In jail, Mary met Jessica Williams, imprisoned for check fraud to feed her children. "You're that Picasso lady," Jessica said. "You proved invisible people matter. Don't let them erase that." Mary spent 6 weeks in federal detention while investigators examined her methods. Unable to afford bail, she worked in the prison library, teaching inmates mathematics, showing them how patterns could reveal truth. The investigation revealed the elegant simplicity of Mary's innocence. Every authentication she'd performed could be independently verified through mathematical analysis. The FBI's own experts, using her equations, confirmed every discovery. "We've never seen anything like this," Agent Martinez testified to the grand jury. She created a mathematical proof system for art authentication that's more reliable than any subjective expertise. She couldn't fake it because math can't be faked. But the damage was done. Mary's reputation was destroyed. Museums feared association with scandal. Her homeless team had dispersed. She lived in a halfway house, doing authentication work for pawn shops at $20 per item. "I had $7 million in the bank when they arrested me," she told her parole officer. "I spent it all on lawyers for my team members Webb had implicated. I'm broke again, but they're free." She continued her work quietly, finding masterpieces in mundane places, but now galleries claimed credit for discoveries she'd identified. They paid her consulting fees, but kept her name hidden. Webb's betrayal cost 17 people their freedom temporarily. 3 of Mary's team members were deported before she could pay their legal fees. 7 lost custody of children during investigations. Robert Chen's daughter died while he was in detention. Her surgery delayed too long. "I started this to help people," Mary wrote in her journal. "Instead, I destroyed lives by making them visible to systems that prefer them invisible." But the accounting had another side. Her authentication methods had identified 43 stolen Holocaust artworks, returning them to heirs who'd thought them lost forever. She'd discovered 18 pieces looted from Cambodia, 12 from Syria, 27 from various African nations during colonization. "You gave us back our history," wrote David Rothstein, Samuel's grandson. "That painting was the only thing my grandfather touched that survived. It's not worth $50 million to us. It's worth everything." On March 15, 2021, exactly 2 years after walking into Sotheby's, Mary received vindication from an unexpected source. The Nobel Committee awarded her the newly created Prize for Applied Mathematics in Cultural Preservation. Dr. Thornton revolutionized art authentication through mathematical proofs, the committee stated. Her work recovering lost cultural heritage while experiencing homelessness represents the highest human achievement. The $1 million prize meant nothing compared to the recognition. Museums that had shunned her offered positions, universities wanted her to teach. The art world needed her expertise. She refused them all. "I'll keep working from the streets," she announced. "That's where truth lives, in places power ignores." She established the Invisible Museum, a digital gallery of discoveries made by homeless individuals. Every finder received full credit and 50% of any sale. The authentication process remained free for anyone living below poverty level,